1140 The Fan. Talkin Money.
Well, alrighty then. We're back to Talkin Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Right. This isn't about education. It's about fun. 339-1140.
That's on backwards. Let's do this.
Hey, we do have a quiz question we didn't get to before the break. We actually got a lot of them, so pick one there, Johnny, and run with it.
Our first question of the day is, this team there's a tournament coming up, and there's a team out there that is going to be considered the greatest team ever if it wins this tournament. And this is compared to the 1920 Yankees, 1950 Canadians, 1960s Packers, 1990 Bulls. So what team could be considered the greatest team ever?
Greatest sports franchise ever?
In terms of winning records, etc.
I think Chris's opening comments today were on the... You don't know that either? No? Okay. Come on now. What's the tournament? There you go. We'll show you the picture there. 339-1140. 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 44-1140, and we're going to give away your choice. We've got a 4-pack of River Cats baseball tickets. If you want to go catch the River Cats this week or whenever you want, those tickets are good for any time you feel like going down there. Or we have some, let's just do River Cats. We'll do a 4-pack of River Cats, and we'll take a couple winners. We get those at 339-1140. So this franchise is going to be considered the best sports franchise ever. I think their win percentage is like 91% in major tournaments and major events. So if they win this week. So if you know the answer to that, give us a call, 339-1140, or you can text us at 44-1140. Some interesting things in the news this week. I mentioned on our weekly recap that comes out on Fridays. I think it comes on here at 3. It's either 3 or 4 o'clock, kind of a recap of the week. They're setting up a $40 million fund. The NASDAQ is setting up a $40 million fund to compensate Facebook trading claims. And so this would be for people, both the firms and individuals. I think they identified about $13 million to some specific firms that had some problem. But if you had a buy order or a sell order priced at $42 or less that didn't execute, and you got an inferior price because of it, they're setting up a fund. There's probably not many of us that were able to get. You might have been placing some individual trades, but a lot of big firms were doing it too. This is not going to be the end of that story because I already see some other articles with bigger companies having bigger issues and going after them. But this continues kind of the fallout from NASDAQ's bungling, if you will.
Oops.
Yeah, bungling of their opening IPO of Facebook. So if you did have some issues with executing a buy or sell trade on your Facebook stock only on day one, if you bought it since then and lost money, you're on your own. But I think I saw it was down 27% still. So it's interesting. But anyway, $40 million set up if that was you. And the plan is subject to review. So this has been proposed, has not been approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission. But keep your eye out on that because there are probably some of you that were very, very frustrated on that first day. You either couldn't get me. If you couldn't get your buy in, you should be.
You're happy.
You should send them a couple bucks and with a little thank you note. But if you couldn't get your sell in, then that would be a problem. So we'll see how that shakes out. I did note that a lot of news this week about the Wisconsin governor's recall. Republican Governor Walker in Wisconsin was up for recall primarily because of his ongoing arguments, or I guess arguments would probably be the best case, with public sector workers trying to limit some of their abilities to negotiate, how they come to market with their salaries and different things, in their state. And that governor did win that recall election by a fair amount, which is, we don't care, we're not in Wisconsin, but it is having some interesting bleed off to what we're seeing here in California. If you're following along with the new tax plans presented by the governor, there is a proposal. Where's my article here? There's a proposal to do a couple things. One of them is to temporarily raise some sales tax, but the big one is to pull up to individuals and small businesses a 13.3% tax rate on individuals making over or families making over $250,000, I believe it is, and for small business. And that is now starting to see some shakiness to it because they thought that was probably going to be a given. There's actually two competing proposals. Matt might be hurting them a little bit because they're a little both confusing. But now we're starting to see a little bit of blowback on, okay, well, what are we... First of all, there's no such thing in my mind as a temporary tax. Whenever a tax gets put in place, it seems to stay in place, right?
Right.
And I thought this was interesting. This was a opinion piece out of the Wall Street Journal. This was written by Michael Boskin and John Cogan, who are professors of economics and public policy at Stanford. They're probably a little smarter than me. Okay, they're a lot smarter than me, at least as far as economics goes. I bet they don't have a Vietnamese pot that costs a lot and weighs a lot. And by the way, my wife texted me during the break saying, "Hey, you idiot, you're the one that told me to get that pot. I didn't go out and buy it on my own." So that is true. I got to take the blame here. Anyway,
You might want to say what type of pot.
Yeah. Was that on the air? Because that was the
That'd be the
that
concrete.
Was the concrete flouring. Put your flowers in it pot, not the Vietnamese pot and the brownies pot. Thank you, Chris, for the.
All right, back on
back to it.
subject.
Anyway, so we are looking at a proposal in California to raise to 13.3% the top rate for state tax for individuals and small business. And this is the problem. I would be probably very in favor, I don't know, maybe not very in favor, but I would be open to the suggestion of, hey, I'll tell you what we're going to do, Jeff. We're going to stop spending by $1 and raise taxes by $1, so we get a $2 swing. It would be even better if they said, okay, we'll cut spending by $2 and we'll raise $1. We'll have a 3-to-1 swing, and we're going to put an end to this thing, and we're going to be serious about it. But here, according to this article, is what's being proposed. While the governor proposes cuts in social services, higher education, and the courts, total spending nevertheless goes up in California, up to $91.4 billion, up from $86.5 billion in 2012, a 6% increase. So while we have what is proposed to be a $16 billion shortfall. Do we have that right? The latest blow, a 70% increase in the state's projected budget deficit, $16 billion up from $9 billion, so correct. We are proposing next year a 6% increase in spending above where we are now. So this gives some interesting numbers. The article talks about the past, how about Californians have been very, very willing to spend money on education because they think they'll get a bang for their buck. Sadly, the state has an elementary and secondary school system that ranks in the bottom fifth of all 50 states. This is according to the article. And our prison system in California spends $45,000 per year per inmate. That is equal to the median take-home pay of all American families. So we have some very, very big expenditures here. But this is where I think the problem is going to be, and this is where I mentioned the Wisconsin recall attempt. In Wisconsin and some other states, they have gone back and totally have tried or are attempting to rewrite their fiscal policy, their policy with their employees, state employees, city employees. They've got to save some money. There's just no way around it. And here is a good example. If this is accurate, we are $16 billion short this year, and our spending being increased for next year is going to go up 6%. How on earth do we continue to do that? And we have a Democratic governor and a Democratic legislator right now. There's no way to stop. If they wanted to cut spending, there's no way to stop them, and nobody would do it. So they have control of the whole deal here. And we're proposing a 6% increase. And this is why I think even the people that aren't affected by the taxes now, because obviously if you're making under where the tax rate will be, maybe you don't care. And that's what they're relying on, is you won't care. It's like the smoking tax, right? I don't smoke, so tax them. That one, did I ever find out, did that pass? It did not. It was close. Like it was, if it was 49-50 or 1, it was super close. But that's interesting. Now you're starting to see people who are not affected by the tax even looking around going, this is ridiculous. We cannot keep doing this. According to this article, the higher tax rates, if they became effective, would speed the exodus from the state and increase the revenue's dangerous volatility, which basically means people who make good money will go work somewhere else. And why not? You can jump across the border and go work. In our industry, you don't necessarily have to be in front of your customers anymore. Look at all the huge Quicken Loans and all these different huge companies. They're based out of somewhere who probably has no taxes at all, and they do all their business over the phone. I'm not saying they do it well. I'm not saying they don't do it well. I'm just saying that they don't do it here, and they're still in business. So that's one example of if you're going to be if you're going to build a house, you're going to have to be here to swing the hammer. But a lot of our industries and a lot of our technologies don't require us to be here anymore. So if we're going to keep running up and running off the high income producers and the income generators, the people who create jobs, they'll just go somewhere else. And we're not even going to discuss having our budget go down next year. How about we just hold it steady?
Yeah, definitely.
How about we just keep it even? Let's start there. If we kept it even and we raised some more money, we would be going backwards. We're not even that far yet. So I don't think Californian legislators have gotten the message yet, and maybe they never will in this state. They may never get that message in this state until it's too late. So I thought it was interesting. We'll see how that bleeds off and other things come from what happens in Wisconsin, if that has any effect at all. We'll talk about some more of that and do some other fun stuff too. Did we get a quiz winner yet, Chris? We did not get a quiz winner. So this sports franchise, they're going to be. I'll give you a little hint because they're all
watching this sport right now.
Yeah, they're going to be in this tournament. Did the tournament start yet? Okay, so you're watching it right now. So this tournament's going to start, and this soccer team is going to be considered, if they win this tournament, and there's a good chance that they will, is going to be considered the best sports franchise in history, and that competes with, who are the other franchises, like the Green Bay Packers, the
1920s Yankees, 1950 Canadians, 1960 Packers, and the
Bulls, Chicago Bulls. So this team's going to be considered one of the best in history if they win. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. We'll give you a 4-pack of tickets to the River Cats for whenever you want to go. We're going to take a quick break. That's John Fodorero. My name is Jeff Tarbell. This is Talkin Money. If you want to jump in the line, we got a couple lines open. We'll take all your calls. No stupid call, just a stupid reply. And we'll be right back. Jack?